All right. Hello, everyone. Today's the January 11th, and that's the official community meeting for Harbor. As Harbor is one of the CNCF projects, please follow the code of conduct. My name is Urlin Vasilyev, and I'm the community manager for Harbor. With that said, I'm gonna, send the link to the community meeting notes into the chat. So please add yourself, add your topics, and we can kick off. With this one, I'm gonna share my browser so we can show that thing. And I can see we've added a few topics already. So not sure who added this one, but the discussion for 2.8. We can.
Sorry, Ori. It was added by me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Okay, no problem. So just want to discuss the 2.8 plan in the community meeting. Firstly, as usual, we planned a 4 months release. The initial timeline is from January 3rd to April 17 in this year. And the proposed 5 milestone like the page showed, a little different compile with previous release planning. We add a new milestone named feature freeze. What that means is we're giving a time frame for the community and the maintainer to add the proposed items or features in this release. So we have a time window to discuss the features or items could be included in this release. So during that time, we can discuss whether this feature can be done in this release or not. If any features or items that is a contributor from community would like to add, they also can discuss with the maintainer and to contribute on that. So that is a little difference compared with previous release. So that's something we would like to propose in this release. The proposed timeline is right down in this page. So I am not to go through each of them. We can quickly go through that by yourselves. So in this release from the Beijing maintainer, the major item we proposed. The first one is adopt the distribution. Oh, sorry, this is something I need to correct. Adopt the OCI spec.
Okay.
Yeah, let me.
If you can fix that.
Yeah, I need to update that. Yeah, so Arnie, you can refresh this page. Yeah, the first one is adopt the OCI spec. We want that 1.1.0. This is something we heard. We have noticed from the OCI team. They may have a plan to release the new spec around February or March in this year. So I think that is very important for Harbor as a registered project to support the new spec as early as possible. So this is a major and important item that we would like to include in this 2.8 release. And the second one is the job source dashboard phase 2, which is a continuous work from the 2.7. We still have a few items need to complete in this release. And the third one is a we treat it as a P1 item, cloud event integration. I think cloud event is a functionality that have been provided by many CNCF projects, but Harbor currently do not have this integration. So we propose to do some integration with cloud event in this release. So this is a major item we proposed. And the next item, we list the initial 2.8 item here that we propose to do. And the last line is about the candidate list. If I think only we may not to go through each of these in this currently. So can you open the candidate list?
Yep.
Just to show the community what we are doing, how we're doing the plan. And we will add some label like candidate 2.8.0 in some GitHub issue. We may do some initial investigation and do some discussion on this, whether we can have this in 2.8. If it is something we agree to include in this release, we will remove this candidate label and add the target 2.8.0 label on that item. So it could be easily be found for 2.8 plan. So that's something I want to share about this plan, how we do this, and what is the current plan we propose for 2.8.
I have a few questions. Is that target the FC thing? That's the new thing in the planning, right?
Target FC is not a new thing.
Or the feature freeze.
Feature freeze is a new thing.
Ah,
Yes.
okay. And we are planning to adopt that for the future releases as well, right?
Yes, that's something we trying to do in this release. So the idea is give it a time frame for maintainer community to include or remove some items from the initial planning before the feature freeze, based on what the resources we have, and based on the priority, and based on the the investigation progress on that, to do the adjustment for the plan before the feature freeze.
Okay. And my other question is the GA date, April 17th. That's so much KubeCon Europe. Is that?
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's great. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. If we can release during KubeCon or on the first day of KubeCon, that would be fantastic, because we will be able to promote that at KubeCon, and we can add that to our maintainers track. Guys, give me a second. Someone is knocking on my door. I'll be back in a second.
Yeah, actually, I think we did not consider that before you pointed this out. I think that's a good idea if we can release this 2.8 before the KubeCon. But I think there may be still some risks, because based on the experience for the previous release, we may have some delayed due to some CV need to fix, right? Because the CV you cannot control it. It all coming when we release, before we release that. So probably we can reach the GA date, the initial target GA date, but there's still possible could be delayed a few days.
Anyway, if we can keep it within the time frame of KubeCon, it's going to be great.
But I would mention that there is another risk here for the adoption for OCI 101. Because that the release of 101 specifications is planned for February. So I'm not sure if anything has changed to case the specification delay. So we probably need some buffer for the upstream change. So the risk for adoption for 101, we probably need to some buffer for the GA day. Maybe because that we need more time to adopt the latest change based on the 101 GA, and that is will happen in February. So I personally propose that we probably need 3 or 4 weeks delay to support the OCI spec 101. If we would like to have this feature in 2.8. So yeah, this is my suggestion here.
Okay, so yeah, so based on what you're talking about is maybe the current target GA date is not enough for us to adopt the OCI spec 1.1,
Yeah.
right? Okay.
Because
because
okay, go ahead.
So the reason is maybe a few reasons. First one, maybe if the OCI 1.1 spec cannot be released on
in February.
time as the planned for in February, so it is a high risk for us to complete it in 2.8 within the currently schedule, right?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I did not consider that before you throw out this. So okay. So only I think we have risk. We already have risk.
Yeah.
risk.
Okay. It's good that we know that prior. So okay, I'll put it like this.
Yeah, because that the harbor is the OCI compatible registry. So I think we should be the first to support the OCI spec 101. So based on this, we probably need to some buffer for GA day.
Yeah, I agree with that because they support the spec. OCI spec is very high priority for Harbor.
And as I know, some a client team like Notary, Cosine, and Nidus are working on the 1.1 adoption, and they are doing some changes to support the latest update of upstream in the OCI group, and they want to be the first tier to support the latest change from OCI. So, given this, some of the client team are working on the adoption. So from the perspective of register team, so we need to first to support the latest OCI release. So and based on the release date, so we probably need some buffer for developer work.
I'm not sure if I got the last one, because Yanwon, your mic is somehow super fade. But you said that Cosine and some others are already working on implementing this one, or?
Yeah, yes, because that this change will impact them. So Cosine team and Notary team and Nidus team are working on the adoption.
Okay. And
so
is it possible like to lay down the foundations for the adoption and then maybe finish it up on like on, I don't know, on first patch release or something, which is not good at all, but if we want to make it like official that we're going to support it in 2.8, maybe that's an option to bend a bit the rules if we wanted to have it. I'm not sure what's the effort behind this one at all, but I'm just speculating.
Arning, I think actually you point out a good point. Think about that. If the OSI spec only can be released on schedule like February, so if the work if there is a lot of work need to adopt that, maybe we can delay a few weeks for 2.8 to complete that. But in case the OSI 1.1 cannot be released in February, maybe it also delayed to March or April, something like that. So we cannot wait for 2 months, right? For our 2.8 release to adopt that. So if that happens, we may release the 2.8 without this fully support, and it can be complete this fully adoption in a 2.8 patch release. I don't know if that is a acceptable idea for this.
We can all vote. Vadim, you're on mute.
Okay. We have to think that the 1.1 spec is already specified. It's not yet released. This means that the probability that something will significantly change apart from documentation in 1.1 will not be that big, I guess. Or am I wrong? So that the probability that it will change in a way that impacts the implementation is very low, because I think mostly it's like the documentation that will change.
I think we needed some investigation on that and to find out what is changed and what is the new things we need to implement at Harborside, right?
Yeah, because I mean, a lot of registries already, like ZOT registries, already implementing 1.1. I mean, they have it already implemented, which I assume it's more. Yeah, so I would bet that the changes will not be that big if there are changes until February in OCI 1.1.
So you say we continue the work as it is planned right now?
I would suggest this is my personal opinion on that. And
then we introduce it in the first version, and if something changes on the way, we can patch it on the 2.8.1, which will be the actual process that we should be following anyway, right? In the release cycle.
Yeah.
Maybe we can get in touch with the OCI folks and see how, if they see that, if they can say that they'll change much, or I don't know, somehow to check with them about the specification and if they foreseen some big changes. But as I said, if there are other projects that are already working on this one, most probably won't be much of a change.
I think we need to do
I
some.
I have discussed with the OSI guys. They told me that there will not spec change from RC to GA. So
Yanwan, you're in touch with them?
Yeah, I have already discussed this topic with the OCI team. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're good then.
Yeah, but they cannot guarantee anything. I believe. Yeah. So there's
they
still
cannot.
They told me that there are still some details are under discussing within their group. But they told me that there won't be big change from RC to GA, but this is not an official message, just a personal information. So I mean that nothing can be guaranteed. So that's why I'm asking for several weeks of time buffer for the coding.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think if we know that there is a possible risk, as I'm changing it, if they delay too much the official release and we will not be able to implement it, then we can address it at this time, I think. But until then, I personally, I don't see a reason why not to work on this one. Jolene, what do you think? You have some.
Yeah, I think this is a high priority. We need to work on this. But what we just talk about is in case there are some risks, like they delay the release. I mean, also delay the release, and there are a lot of big change we need to adopt, and need a lot of efforts from our side to change it, to adopt the new spec. So that probably will delay the release, right? That's something we just now talk about. If the outside, I mean spec, the new release delayed a lot, delayed 2 months. So I think maybe we cannot wait for their release in this major release. Maybe we can complete the this in a patch release or 2.8, right? That's what I just now suggested.
And who's working on the implementation? Yanwan, is that you?
Yeah, I'm drafting the proposal.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we are leading this efforts, and I think a few maintainers from Beijing team also will be involved in this.
Yeah. If you think that we may need community help, like outside of the maintainers team contributions to the OCI implementation, just drop me a line and I can try to address this one.
Sure, thank you.
Okay. Anything else on that topic? Nope. Okay. I think, Jolene, you.
That's also added by me. I think start from January 21st, there will be Chinese New Year holiday. So maintenance from Beijing team will not be available during that time. And if you
do we have a meeting at that time?
I mean, a few team members will take additional day leaves before or after the holiday. So I think during that time, some of the response for the community Slack channel will be slowed than usual. So so there's something, set some expectation during that time for community support. Yeah.
All right. I'll put a message in the channel. So
yeah, great. That will be great. So, and also there is another community meeting in that week. I'm not sure if you guys want to continue that community meeting or just want to skip that.
I think we can keep that community meeting up in favor of someone. If someone wants to have like an office hours kind of time frame to ask something, or we can discuss some of the other sub projects like the operator or the Terraform provider, so we can utilize that time slot for other things than the main Harbor project.
Okay, so but Beijing team will maybe not able to join, I think.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
I think okay. Someone else added something, and I cannot say who is that, but since 2.6 Harbor is not working in full HA mode, who added that topic? Is that Vadim? Okay.
Yeah, this was me. I noticed this in discussion in the if you open up 1320,
Mhm.
and yeah, somehow it slipped, and it appears now, hunting us in this Helm chart. But the problem is more fundamentally in the job scheduler. So we have a job scheduler, and if we're running on Kubernetes, we cannot have multiple instances of the job scheduler because of the fact that the job scheduler is mounting a volume. And that's a problem.
Sorry, the problem is not the job scheduler. It is the amount volume of job service, and it is for the CVE port feature. And I have already noticed this problem, and we are planning to fix this issue in the OSS side to remove the mount. I mean the volume mount to because that this volume is just for the CVE port to support some temporary files. It's not need to do the mount. It should be just do it in the temporary folder inside the pod or container. So we will draft a fix for this problem and remove the volume mount and just use the internal folder. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. I think this will not fix the error because it will fix the error, but the problem will still be working because if you swap the volume mount to temporary volume, and you have like 2-3 pods, like for job service, and you want to get the CVE every time you do a request, every 4th request will fail because it will not find the file because the file is directed to a job service that doesn't have this file, right? So we either need to store in the container or in the database. I think this is the only option that we have here.
Yeah. The folder is just to store the temporary file during the CVE port. The file is not actually the CVE file. CSV file. This is just a temporary access. That is not this is not needed to mount to the offsite.
Okay.
Yeah. So nothing will impact the CVE port. Is still work given we remove the temporary folder mount. So.
Okay, so the CV download will still work even if you have multiple job schedules.
Yes.
Okay, great. Awesome. Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's great news. I didn't know. I thought it was also storing the files for downloading there as well, because then, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's it from my side then.
Okay. I have a few stuff. First one, I've sent a link to a shared document that we have to write up the proposal for the maintainers track. So if you can take a look at this, and if you're willing to talk on the maintainers track, add your topic that you want to cover there. So we can submit that until 27th of January. Maintainers track are not automatically approved this time. They go through the same process as any other CFPs, so we have to craft it well. That's it. If you have any ideas right now, do you want to discuss it, or we can do that offline?
Okay, I'll help you on that.
Yeah, I think maybe for detailed content we can collaborate offline on this topic on this KubeCon maintainer track session. But maybe we can also discuss the speakers this time for this session, right? So Olin and Vadim, you will be go in person, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think from Beijing team, we currently still working on if we can
Mhm.
travel for this con, and we may let you know whether we can go there in person or not
Mhm.
a few days later about this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah. So I mean, most likely we can attend this time in person because the China has changed the policy. Yeah. Thank you. So do you know how many seats do we have for the maintenance track session?
I have to check that. Yeah, that was something that I was thinking today. If we have like two for sure, I'm not sure about the rest because still maintenance track is a bit different from the others. I'll check that and I'll update the number of speakers in that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Fantastic.
Okay.
So yeah, I
yeah.
think we can work on this one asynchronously, and if we can finish it up until you go out on your New Year's holidays, so that's next Friday, will be great. Because I have to submit it until the Friday after. So
Sure.
if you can fix it until next Friday, it would be great.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right. I'll add my topics about community, which can, if we have enough of other topics, technical topics that we want to do on the maintainers track, we can easily remove the community stuff. But in that maintainers track, I think we should include the other subproducts projects like the operator and the updates there, and the adoption of the Terraform provider as well, because those are two major things that we are under the Harbor organization these days. So yeah, they're in the same pot. So we should talk about that as well. All right. And that's actually an ask for Florian. I can see you if you want to add something to the maintainers track that you want to be promoted on the KubeCon session.
Okay.
Great. Next thing, folks from VMware asked me about this show. It's called the Lightning with Kelly. So I'm gonna be guest there next week, I think. I'm sorry, not Kelly, Whitney. So if you want something specific to mention on that show, drop me a line, because it's gonna be like educational about Harbor, what's Harbor, how Harbor works, architecture, blah blah blah. But if you want something specific that you think that you should be definitely there, just drop me a line, so I can build up my agenda. It's practically a non-agenda show. It's more like a natural conversation driven, but still I want to have agenda, of course, so I don't get lost, and I can add all the things that you want to have there, so we can use that as a showcase what Harbor is and how great it is and whatever. Yep. So drop me a line. I'll be expecting you. Yeah, someone wanted to say something.
Yeah, I think that's cool. Just want to know, is that only, I mean, can be watched internal VMware, or it can be?
No. It's for the public. You can watch it on Twitch and YouTube. It's going to be live stream.
Oh, that's
yeah.
cool.
Yeah. You can check the other things that Whitney did, and actually last time it was Lee Chapelle, and it was about Carvel. So you can see the whole thing. It was before that. It was open telemetry. She touches a lot of topics, and it's like a free chat. What the thing is, how it's used. It's pretty cool, to be honest. It's a bit long. It's like can be up to 2 hours, which is like too long, but that depends on the topic and the conversation, how it goes, and so on and so on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, if you have something super important for you, just drop me a line, because I will include as much as I can, as much as I know, but still, if you want something specific to be there, like the adoption of the OCI, because at some point we will definitely talk about the future. So
Yeah.
I'll definitely touch base on this one, that we will be working on this one on the next release. And I'll mention that possible release date will be around KubeCon and stuff like this. So yeah. Okay. And the last and very interesting topic, it's about the chart museum deprecation. There was a interesting questions the other day about the chart museum and the deprecation, why we decided to deprecate it. I think some folks was that Vadim? Go ahead.
Was less a question why we deprecated. It's more a suggestion that while we deprecated hosting Helm charts, it might be useful to still support replication from Chart Museum, so that you can import images into Chart Museum. I know that you can convert charts from Chart Museum into OCI quite easily. It's no big deal, and I think it will be also quite easy to implement a replication logic where we fetch images from Chart Museum and replicate them automatically to OCI inside the registry. So you could replicate the popular images that are published in Chart Museum format into Harbor. So it's not kind of a reverting the Chart Museum decision, but supporting replication from Chart Museum. I mean, not talking into Chart Museum. Maybe it's also doable, but I think the most important part for the users is like they would like to replicate charts from third party into their Harbor registry so they can continue using them. And I think this would be an interesting feature that would make sense to introduce into 2.8 while we deprecate Chart Museum. So now that the Chart Museum binary will still move away, but it's just replication feature. So I think it's not very complicated to implement.
I personally believe it is more like a tool rather than a feature in Harbor.
It can be part of the replication, right? So like for the convenience and ease of use, you don't want to have a CLI tool or another tool that does this. You would like to have it in Harbor, that Harbor can do it periodically, automatically as part of the application, So this is my take on it. Maybe it would make sense to think about it and implement it. Because
so you mean that the Harbor converts the chart museum file to the OCI compatible charts?
Exactly.
Right.
And replicate it from Chart Museum to Harbor.
Yeah, I understand that, but which two do we choose, and whether it is required? It is needed from customer side, because there are several tools that can convert chart museum file into the OCI charts, and which one do we choose? And so that's why I personally believe that we can provide a tool outside Harbor scope to help user to convert the old style files into the OCI compatible files, then push to Harbor, and Harbor just serve all the OCI compatible files, and do not do some conversion automatically in the Harbor core side.
But if we can create a CLI tool, why can we not integrate the CLI tool in Harbor as part of the replication?
I think the whole idea is that the Harbor is meaning for OCI compatible artifacts, and right now we are considering deprecating Chart Museum, and what we can do is that we already have a tool that can help users to convert chart museum to an OCI compatible artifact. And user can use that tool to convert their chart museum chart to OCI compatible artifact, and then manage the replication activities as they want.
But you have to take into account, like if people are using like charts in chart museum format in OCI, they can definitely convert their own charts, you know. And this is not the target group. The target group are people who are using Harbor in a way where Harbor is a replication machine. So they use Harbor in a way that aggregates images and charts from other registries like Docker Hub, like Artifact Hub, and so on. So they replicate all those third-party images internally into their Harbor instance and then use it. So they cannot, I mean, they can of course convert those third-party images, you know, but they have to write a tool for that, you know. And if it would be part of Harbor replication, it would be really easier for those people to be somewhat backwards compatible, or not backwards compatible, but you know, be able to replicate also the legacy chart museum format. Because the thing is that chart museum will not go away; it will always be there. So it's not OCI is not the next generation storage for Helm charts. It's one of other ways. So the chart museum will still be there, and people will continue using chart museum, you know. So it's, you know, the chart museum or OCI is not the next generation of Helm charts. It's one storage options that Helm charts provide. And I think if we are able to replicate charts from chart museum into OCI, we don't have to use chart museum for that. You know, we can implement it ourselves. But the question is, you know, should we do it? And I would argue that it would, you know, benefit a lot of users of Harbor if we do this. And they're going to be thankful if we implement this functionality for them. And they won't be that sad in when we deprecate chart museum, because I think this will impact a lot of users when we deprecate chart museum.
Yeah, actually, we have the GitHub issue to check and remove the chart museum in 2.8 based on the previous decisions that the community have made. Given that all Vadim just said, replication to support the chart museum to OCI artifact. But another question I want to throw out is the replication functionality that supported in the Harbor is using some of the common API, right, to do the artifact replication. Previously, I heard from some of the maintainers, we are trying to do something like to make the replication as a spec to the community. If we have some specific function to chart museum, I mean, convert the chart museum to a OCI compatible artifact, that will not a common cases for the replication itself, right?
Yeah, that's so I have a quick go through the adapters list that currently support in Harbor side. Harbor can only support the replicate from V2 distribution like GCR, ACR, Docker Hub, and we use the standard OCI distribution API to pull and push manifest into Harbor. But if we decide to replicate the chart museum, this should be a specific scenario. That's not different from other supporting adapters. And we have to call the chart museum API rather than the standard V2 distribution API to pull manifest or just download files and then and push into the harbor side. I still personally believe that we should do not do this in the harbor side because it's break the standard and the adapter standard in the harbor side. We always call the V2, I mean the distribution API to pull and push manifest instead of call the some specific server API to download files to do the replication. So yeah, but we can discuss. Sorry. We can initialize some proposal in the community side, so then we can discuss in the proposal.
Hey, Badiam. Hey, yeah. Is it specific to this particular release, or can I have one question? Can I ask?
Sure.
Yeah, actually, from year or so, we are using Harbor. From the initial days onwards, we haven't enabled any lifecycle policy on the repo level. So currently, we got piled up with terabytes of images in the S3. So even though if we are running the GC collection, garbage collection, it's unable to delete the terabytes of images. So is there any way we can selectively delete the images?
You can create on policies and delete based on policies.
Yeah, deletion, image deletion policies we haven't enabled from initial days onwards. So currently it's around 200 terabytes of data we have in the S3. So we have, for the cost optimization, we have to delete the older images.
Yeah, but you can enable now policies.
Yeah, we are enabled now, but we have enabled for a couple of repos. But even a week or so, the particular GC job was running. It's unable to delete 20 terabytes of data also. So even 10 terabytes of data also, it's unable to delete.
I think the problem here is that the garbage collection is not properly working, in my opinion, on S3 buckets. So this is my personal opinion here, but so far as I see it also internally, if the repository is a few terabyte of size, we have no repository where the garbage collection is working correctly. Yeah.
So when you mentioned that the garbage collection does not remove artifact, do you mean that there is some errors happen, or GC just does not remove the candidate?
As we seen, it's a delete blob and a delete from storage. It's able to show in the logs, but it's very even 10 minutes, it's try to delete 5 to 10 images only. When we run the garbage collection, it's like an single process, right? Singleton process.
And
Garbage
by the way,
collection
sorry, and which version of Harbor you are using? Like, I remember that we enabled for the tolerance for garbage collections in.
Okay, we are using version 2.4.1.
Yeah, you have to update.
We have to update.
You should definitely update to 6.
Yeah. And you can just send out the log of GC. So let me see the details.
Okay. Yeah, we already initiated a thread on community, and it's better to talk in the community chat. So we try to bring it up today.
I probably the HTTP request reach the timeout from distribution to the S3 core. In some cases, when you have a lot of attacks associated with one specific artifact, the distribution will loop all the attacks and then remove them one by one. but it will take a lot of times. But the default timeout from distribution to S3 is 1 minute, I believe. So in some cases it will timeout. So you can upgrade to the 2.6 and Harbor introduce the failure tolerance and to skip this failure and continue to remove other candidates.
Yes, exactly. Like we actually introduced failure tolerance for GC in Harbor 2.5.0, but you can upgrade any versions upper than that.
Okay, if you upgrade to 2.6 and it will be a better support on the garbage collection, we're saying, right?
Yeah.
Oh. And also the garbage collection process currently running as a singleton process. It's running only on single pod, a job pod. So it is able to run on multiple pods. It's a multi-threaded we can run.
Yeah, it's in our backlog. Yeah, we noticed that, but since the garbage collection is non-blocking operation, that means it will not block any pull or push operation of your users. So that's why we choose the single thread to remove all the candidates. But yes, this will cause the performance problem.
And I remember that garbage collection is a single thread job, right?
Yeah, currently it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, Sandeep, you have any questions?
So
No,
please upgrade.
Sorry, please go ahead.
Yeah, in fact, so please upgrade your Harbor version later than 2.6 2.5.0.
Okay.
I think let's try to upgrade our Harbor and try to delete it. And if something goes south, I think we should come back to the chat again.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Thank you, everyone.
Yep, thank you, guys. It's highly appreciate your support here. So once I upgrade the Harbor version, if I face any issues, I can post it in the community channel.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? We have 5 minutes left. So any last topics? No? Okay. Vadim, about the chart museum, are you gonna open an issue proposal for this one?
I can do so, yeah.
Okay. And out of curiosity, because I was scrolling about that discussion, and what's the reason why we decided to deprecate chart museum? Because it was unstable, and then the OCI was compatible with the charts, and
Chat museum is not the binary is not very stable. And the other solution would be implemented ourselves, like implementing chat museum API in Harbor parallel to OCI. So I think the reason was to deprecate it in favor, because there is already a solution for that. But the reality is that Helm did not decide to switch, from the old chart museum format to OCI only, but they're running side by side, and so
yeah, and because my experience is the same, like there's still a lot of charts that are not like OCI, and they're like the old chart museum kind of charts, and yeah, and obviously it's an issue for many folks.
And another reason here is that the Helm team is not maintain the chart museum, and they are seeking the maintainer for chart museum. So you can open the URL. URL. So you can see the description and the Helm 3.8 will enable OCI support, so which is highly recommended to explore. So this is the key reason that's why we wanted to deprecate the channel support.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that decision was before I joined the team, and I was missing the context of this one. So thanks.
Okay. Sure.
Sorry. All right. Anyone else? No. Okay.
No.
Thank you very much, everyone. I hope you have
Thank you.
a great rest of the day or evening, and talk to you in 2 weeks. Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you. Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Irene.
Good day.
Bye.
Good night.
Bye.